Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or whenever you're watching me right now. My name is Jay Luke, the owner and operator of the Passion Is Network. I'm also the host of Talk That Talk. Check out all of our merchandise at the store right at the bottom of this link right here or anywhere on our page. Remember, you can get 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band. All right, man, I already know this weekend has actually been a weekend full of band. But the most important, I think, this weekend was the boombox, right? Everybody's talking about who won, who didn't win, who got the fifth, who got the zero, who got the halftime. And I'm just enjoying the conversation, looking at what everybody's thoughts are. And I'm gonna let y'all have it. I'm not gonna give my opinion on that. But what I will say is very soon I'm going to be doing a mid-week update or a mid update on the season where I think people are from a lot of the grades that I gave from this past summer or where people started to where they are at this moment. So stay tuned for that. But I am going to talk about the boombox, but I'm not going to talk about the boombox in the capacity of which everybody else was talking. This video was actually released, and from what I heard, it was a longer video, but someone sent me this particular video. And so I actually want to look at it and react to it real quick because I kind of skimmed through it a little bit, but I didn't watch it in its entirety. So I'm going to watch it. We're going to react to it. So let's just go ahead and get to it. So So apparently what happened was Jackson, and I don't know where the communication came from, and we'll get to that in a minute, but Jackson was not allowing Southern's band to march in before Jackson's band. So that was the understanding as I skimmed through this the first time. So I'm gonna say this right off top, right? Like as a band director, man, when you are prepared for something and you're prepared to do something in a specific way, specifically if it's a situation where you've done it over and over and over again and it's basically a tradition, and you're being told at the last minute that it's something different, there is a level of frustration that is going to naturally just come about, right? So as you can see, they're telling him like, yo, hold up, hold up. They're trying to pull him back, but the reality is he's at this point he's frustrated, right? And rightfully so. He's frustrated because and I don't know what's going on in Jackson, right? I really don't know what's going on in Jackson in the sense that they want to tell everybody everything late. Between the media situation and now they tell, them as soon as they trying to march in that it's tight. Like, and I don't know if it's a Jackson thing or I don't know if it's an HBCU thing. I don't know. My thing is we've got to do better jobs of communicating with our own people in a timely manner to give ourselves a chance to have whatever emotional reaction to it and then be able to respond, to be able to correct, to be able to redirect. So rightfully so, he's frustrated. Now I will say this: the I don't know who the brother is with the bald head who's trying to calm him down. He's actually doing the right thing, right? Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to really escalate the situation even further than what it possibly could, right? So like he's trying to pull him back, and I understand. Dr. Taylor is hot. He wants to be able to get answers. He wants to be able to talk to somebody. He wants to be able to get his kids inside, the stadium to be able to do what they always do. But that young brother, he's actually doing the right thing. All right, so this is where I kind of see a small issue. Now go with me here. Understand what I'm saying when I say this, right? So there's two things that's happening here, right? Dr. Taylor is talking to the officers. Officers are trying to explain some things to him. The biggest issue, the first biggest issue is when you come with the entourage, and it's always great to be able to have people that got your back. So I'm not saying that. So your assistant band directors, your associate band director, whatever, it's always great to be able to have the people that have your back. But when you come in the big group, it automatically triggers a little bit of hostility, right? Not necessarily on the side of the people that's coming, but the side of the people that have to defend. So it automatically looks like you're coming in a hostile territory, in a hostile situation. And then you don't know what your people are going to be saying in the back, right? Like I heard, and I don't know if it came from anybody on staff, but somebody was like, let them through, dog. You know what I'm saying? So that does not necessarily help the situation, because it only helps to escalate the person who's already upset, which is Dr. Taylor. Because when you help to push that energy into him, he's gonna take it. That's just, if you're in that position, your adrenaline is already rushing. Your adrenaline was rushing because you were ready to march in. Your adrenaline was rushing because you didn't prepare for this moment. Your adrenaline is rushing because now you're hot, and now you're in this particular situation where you have to confront someone, and you got your entourage behind you, and they gonna back you up. They gonna rock with you. But then you got somebody out, like, again, I don't know if that was somebody from the staff or not, and I'm not gonna speculate, but you got somebody back there like, let them in, dog. So, and the person who's already hot mind, they're like, yeah, dog, let me in. You know what I'm saying? So so you just got to be mindful of when you start bringing the entourage. Now, the other problem is, and we're gonna watch a little further, and I'm just assuming this, but sometimes when we have these, or when you have these big games, sometimes the communication is just, don't let them in. There's not there, especially when you're dealing with officers, because there's a lot of times when you have these big games, so on and so forth. Like, I know the Cotton Bowl, and obviously when you do the Cotton Bowl, it's not necessarily at anybody's particular stadium, but still, still, even on some people's campuses, they hire outside law enforcement. So that outside law enforcement is told to just do the job. And so if they're told don't let them in, then that becomes the conversation. We ain't supposed to let you in. So if you're coming at them, if you're talking to them, and you like, why we can't get in, and they like, hey, we just were told not to be let in. Well, that's just the only communication. So sometimes you got to realize that. So I'm assuming that's what's happening here. So we're gonna watch a little bit further. So yeah, so you can hear him say, he was like, I don't know what the full conversation was, but he was just like, I don't got nothing to do with that. I'm only here to do the job. I did not come up with the decision. I did not give the order. I'm only following the order. And sometimes, again, when you, and I've been in this situation as a director too, right? I've learned now at this older age that sometimes it's better to be able to state your piece, state your piece, be able to provide the evidence of your piece, and then back up and walk away. Because, and I'm not saying that's not what he did, Dr. Taylor did. I'm not saying that at all, because we haven't watched the video all the way through. But what I am saying is, I know from my personal situations and personal opinion and things that I've seen and dealt with, state your facts, back up and walk away. Because at the end of the day, that's the directive that they gave. And so they're only following the order. So if you have somebody that you can reach out to that has the inside information, like if you could call an AD, or if you could call somebody, a provost or somebody to say, hey, this is happening. what's going on. Then you can be able to maybe get a little bit more insight. Then you can maybe get a little bit more information as to what's going on, and then probably the ball can move then. But trying to get the officers to let you in, or trying to get the officers to move after they were given a directive by the people who pay them, that it probably is not going to change anything. Then you sit there frustrated, and again, I haven't watched this further, but I know from personal experience, you're sitting there frustrated because you can't make anything happen when you know that this is some last minute stuff that has happened to you, or some last minute information that was given to you. Let's just watch a little bit more. All right, so Dr. Little comes up. I don't know if there was a conversation between him. I know he came up for like 2-3 seconds and he just tipped out. So I don't know what that was. All right, so yeah, so it yeah, so it seems as though, Dr. Taylor kind of calmed down, went back to assess it, but he did go back and talk to the officers, and I guess he's trying to get a little bit more insight on who gave the directive and so on and so forth. And again, you know, having the entourage there doesn't necessarily always pan out the best. Now apparently we didn't hear anything negative. There was no big fight or whatever. They basically got in, they played or whatever. So it didn't happen. Nothing negative came out of the final situation. But sometimes having that entourage there doesn't help, because that's your A-man corner, right? Like, you feel this way, they gonna back you up. They feel that way too, right? And so, it doesn't help sometimes to put fuel on the fire. But I would definitely say this, man, we've got to do a better job of communicating with our own people. Jackson, I feel like really, and honestly, let's be real. Boombox is a really big thing when it comes to the HBCU community, HBCU band community, Jackson, the Southern community. Like, it's a big thing, right? And so it's almost very similar to what is it, the Florida Classic with Bethune and Fam. It's unwritten, understood things that happen during that particular situation. In Jackson, I think that the last minuteness of everything that you all did from the media side to even letting them know this information, that was just kind of phony. We've got to do a better job with communicating information to our own people. Especially when you're dealing with a situation with an arena this big, and not in an event this big that is so well known. But again, just be mindful. If you're a director, if you've ever been a director in this particular situation, I know I have, on a head band director side and an assistant band director side. It's always good to be able to, one, have a level-headed person that's going to be beside you, that walks up and is able to advocate for you in that particular situation, and not necessarily have the full entourage backing you up. But the other thing is, just remember who you're communicating with. Sometimes that the people that you're communicating with is not the person who gave the directive. And so sometimes you just want to be able to speak your piece, get your thoughts across, get the information on who gave the directive, so that way you can then make specific calls. Step away, make a call, and then you can get things solved. But I'm interested in hearing about what you guys think, man. Did you all think Jackson was right for this? Do you all think Southern handled it correctly? Do you think they handled it incorrectly? Do you think Jackson did the right thing? I don't know, man. You guys leave all your comments down in the comment section. Also, remember, go ahead and stop by the store. Get any of our merchandise. Remember, 30% off your final purchase. Just type in HBCU band. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And holla.